time.
Podcast warriors ain't afraid to shout. Make America great, tell them what it's about. Facts over feelings, cutting through the noise. Fighting woke mobs and the kids with toys. They spew their lies, they spreading hate. Lips BS ain't gonna seal our fate. No nonsense here, just straight to the point. Truce to ammo in this battleground joint. Make America great again, stand and fight. Facts over feelings, day and night.
Hey, it's To The Point with Mike, Leo, and Vince.
Hey, it's a To The Point podcast with Mike, Leo, and John tonight. Vince is on PTO. You know, we give him some time off. I don't know. He gets like he gets too many vacations.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have John joining us tonight from TGI Now and Indian River Connections. John, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Looking good, guys.
Right. Yeah, I was sent the video of my daughter in the house who's got a loose tooth, and she was wiggling it, and it was just like, speak of the devil. She come in. So anyways, episode 118 on the Patriots Prayer Network and To The Point. We're welcoming John from TGI Now, Indian River Connections, and I'm repeating myself over and over again. We got a lot to talk about. Thanks, trolls, already in the comments section, man. Thanks for showing up, man. And so, I mean, obviously, the big headlines. We do have a new sponsor for the network, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But the new headlines this week, obviously, is President Biden's cancer diagnosis.
Right.
It's sad.
Sad, yeah, for sure. It is very sad.
And then you got, reaping the benefits of Trump's visit to the Middle East. That we got the American Pope with the based brother and the sister. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't seem to stop. Since COVID ignited the fires, it just seems like every week there's more and more news. What do you think, John?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's like we talked about way back when, you guys first started your podcast and I started TGI Now. And, this is the big push to the Great Awakening, that things are just speeding up so fast, that information's coming out so quickly that it's hard to consume it as quick. I mean, just in the beginning of doing our show and your show, I mean, it was harder to find content as much, as the weeks went on. But as we did the shows longer and longer, you guys are at 118 episodes, we're like 218 episodes. You think that's 300 and almost 350 episodes between the two of us talking about all these things culminating into a culmination. And I think that's what we're seeing. And you have to just have your head on a swivel and stay awake and aware.
Yeah. In our hobby of podcasting, there's no show prepping ahead of time. Yeah. It's like an hour ahead of time. Yeah. You can get caught up on what intrigued you, but everything changes so dang quick.
Someone just asked me, they're like, "Oh, what are you guys going to talk about this evening?" And I was like, to be honest with you, I don't know, but I just know it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, whatever's in the news.
It's going to be a good show. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, not just on our podcast, but go ahead and go on the PPN network and give us a like, give us a subscribe. Also, go ahead, John, give us your information where they can find you guys at.
Catch us on X at TGI Now Podcast. So catch us there. We go live there, and then Rumble at TGI Now Podcast as well, and Facebook and all the other podcast scenarios. And that's the thing. It's like we're on so many different platforms too that we're getting a message out so quickly and so fast that, like you said, Leo, it's hard to keep up with what we're doing and what kind of subject matter. Because in the past, when we didn't go live and you guys are going live, we used to have to come up with subject matter and put that information out there. Now you're about to go live and everything's going to be in real time, so you have to come up with that title right away. So it makes us be quick on our feet. I use technology as well, but it makes you quick on your feet to get that title and get that subject matter and get the info out there.
Usually, yeah, for sure. And I usually like to wait. Something happens and everybody jumps to conclusion right away. I like to sit back, wait, see what everybody's gonna, talk about this, talk about that, point fingers here, point fingers there. As soon as it happens, give it some time, look at it. See it, because our eyes are deceiving. At 1 minute, they can tell you one thing, but then you go back and rewind it. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. That wasn't there 2 seconds ago. What just happened? Because it happens. You know,
Let it
that
marinate.
happens.
Let it marinate. That's what I always say. Yeah.
Troll says, "Chill, man. Just chill."
No, for sure. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah,
Yeah. You just got to be just smart. Keep your head on a swivel, and
for sure.
and just consume the information, and like you said, let it marinate. Let it
Yeah.
see where it goes. See where the narrative is taking us. Just like
Right.
with the Saudi Arabia, just like what's happening with the South African president. Things are being put in the forefront.
I've got some good video with the South African president too.
I've been laughing about that one for the last hour before we went live. So
There's so much good stuff out of that. I couldn't believe our president's got freaking brass balls. But before we get into those headlines and before we get into PPN's new sponsor, the driving force behind us, besides our own ventures and podcasts, is Indian River Connections, where we do like local marketing for small businesses, podcasts, and stuff like that. So give us a like and a follow on PPN and tothepoint.com on X, but also check out Indian River Connections on all the major platforms. We're going to be evolving a little bit. It's kind of interesting in ways we can take this. So follow us on Indian River Connections. But on PPN, we have an interesting new network sponsor. I don't know very much about them. I thumbed around on the website a little bit, and we have an ad to play, but it's From the Farm. And from everything I can gather, this app, this service connects you with local farms with packages of fresh beef, bacon, chicken. I noticed the variety on this was pretty good. And you can actually choose the farms you want to get your meat from. So, I mean,
Easy.
it's fresh, it's American, it's not pumped full of hormones. And these guys do a pretty good way of explaining it. Plus, I mean, one of the co-founders is one of Wonder Woman's Amazonian female fighters. So let's check out From the Farm.
Since 2017, 150,000 farms have shut down, and working farmland has been reduced by 21 million acres. The system has been crippling the remaining farmers, forcing some to adopt nefarious farming techniques, like pumping hormones and other performance-enhancing drugs into their cows so they can survive in crammed feedlots. Or the farmers are forced to jump ship and sell to land-hoarding, profit-chasing agricultural oligarchies, who use their billions of dollars to crush the competition and increase your family's dependence on their manufactured food. What could possibly go wrong? The family farm will soon be a thing of the past, unless you do something. You can. That's why there's From the Farm, an industry-disrupting platform that connects consumers directly with local farmers, which means you can buy fresh, non-factory farm food, and you'll know exactly where your food came from and how it was raised. For the first time in nearly 100 years, independent farms will have a way to not only survive, but thrive. From the Farm was founded by A.J. Richards, an active homesteader, and Brooke Ents, a CrossFit Games athlete and an Amazonian warrior in the movies Wonder Woman and Justice League. She clearly has a passion for healthy food and a healthy lifestyle. And since both AJ and Brooke come from generations of ranchers and farmers, they know what they're talking about. We can't do this alone. We need the strength of the American people behind us. Help us build a new food system that combines the wisdom of the past with the technology of the future. Investing in From the Farm isn't just a financial decision. It's an investment into our future, our small family farms, and our food sovereignty. Invest today.
Truthful Troll. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he was trying to get your name right. Choking on his words there. But From the Farm. Yeah. What do you think, John? Have you heard of them?
I have not, and I mean, based on that ad, it was a really good ad. It was well done, and it looks like it's trying to sustain and help, farms, get thrive, like they said. So, we have to support them. So, instead of going to, Publix and getting your meat or whatever, and your other stuff, if they have other things and other stuff you can get, it looks like they might offer more than just meat too. But if whatever they offer, it looks pretty good. So, I mean, I'm definitely interested.
Let me see what they actually have to offer. I'm sure they wouldn't mind us sharing their website.
Yeah. It looks good.
I sent this out to our little group with Indian River Connections, and I believe Joanne is trying to get a hold of somebody for an interview on Binford Chronicles. So she has a link too. So if she jumps in, she can correct me if not. But let's see what we got here.
Nice. Yeah, that looks good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I mean, if
so it looks
let's
okay.
see what it is.
Do you have to subscribe?
I'm not sure.
Is there
I
a
think
subscription?
I'm not sure. I think the meat packages are, yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably
you
are.
can go to their website fromthefarm.org and
Yeah.
find out more. But like I said, it's American owned,
Right.
and in the variety is what had me interested. Where were we?
I used to have family members that lived in Nebraska, and they used to work in a lot of like
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah.
meat housing, processing, and stuff like that. And not too long ago, maybe probably like a year ago, I went back there for a family loss. You know, there's a loss in the family, so we went back and stuff. And a lot of that stuff is gone. Like there is no such thing as
Small farms. They're
small
very far and few
farms.
between.
You know, like
Well, it's going to take
like
something like this
meat
to
warehouses and stuff
bring
like
the
that.
village to the right place, because a lot of
Right.
people, it's convenient to get your
Right.
beef and your meat from Walmart.
Right.
It's a whole lot cheaper too. I'm not going to lie, but again,
But
like the ad said, those big businesses get desperate for
Oh, yeah,
profits,
for
and
sure.
they're pumping their animals full of hormones.
for sure.
If they're even
And I've even been to New York
From
City
here?
before to like all these like not meat houses, but like walk through old meat houses before from the outside, where there is no longer like a meat processing place, like a bodegas or whatever they call them in New
Yeah.
York, you know,
so you get a pint of tallow,
because they get
For 12 bucks.
bought out by these bigger companies, you know.
Yeah. and this is pretty cool. Whole beef for
Hello.
4,500.
Yeah.
Quarter beef for 1,200. You get your tallow, which is much healthier for you than seed oils,
Oh.
ground beef,
I see
and
they have
fresh.
They have bundles. That's what I'm interested in. Go to the bundles down there. That's the best value if you go do like the
Yeah,
bundle.
for sure.
So if you do like a carnivore bundle or a
Yeah,
stew
they
meat,
have a carnivore pack.
Right there was just
Oh,
right there.
see the one where it says you got the burgers and all that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the carnivore bundle.
Yeah.
Ground
Yeah.
beef snack stick. Ooh,
Yeah.
sweet
pretty good.
pepper. We might have to check out that snack stick.
Yeah, they got some.
But yeah, it's real interesting. I think I'm kind of excited for this winter. So
Yeah.
let's see how this works when I take us back off there. Not good.
You don't like
There
that
we
one.
go. No. We're in so many different studios with the work we do. It's kind of jumping from one to the other.
It gets
So-
confused.
Yeah, so definitely check out fromthefarm.org, and it's I can't wait to try them out. We got nobody at the bottom. So anyways, in the news, obviously, I mean, the big news I feel was Biden's cancer diagnosis. Stage 9 prostate cancer. It's metastasized to the bone, and they just now diagnosed this. And I saw on Morning Joe, I don't have that clip, and I really don't like playing Morning Joe anyways. There was Joe Scarborough had, I think it was Rahm Emanuel's brother, who's a well-known cancer doctor, on the show, and asked him like his opinions, and he's like, he just didn't get diagnosed with, stage 9 cancer that's metastasized to the bone. He's had it for like at least 10 years. And of course, they're all backtracking now. They're all like acting like we've been lied to, and even Tapper, Jake Tapper, he's on an apology tour. If you saw him with Ezekiel, yeah. If you saw Jake Tapper on with Megan
Kelly. Yeah.
Megan Kelly, they're friends, by the way, and she disclaims that, but she didn't hold back. Like she confronted him and the other guy with him, some yahoos. I don't know. I don't watch that shit.
Yeah.
But Ezekiel Emmanuel, maybe. Yeah, I believe you're right, Joel.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not even a doctor, and I've been around men, in Joe Biden's age over the years in my Rotary Club and things of that nature. And the most common thing was what he is diagnosed with, and they would always get diagnosed early and have it being treated and being taken care of. So, and they went to the doctors all the time, just like Joe Biden would, or a former president or a president gets checked up. These guys were going to the doctor just as often. And then when they would come down with that, they would get it treated, get it taken care of, and they would be fine. Like, so once you find out about it, you're getting treated for it. So like, you're not going to let it go to stage 9 like he did. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, from what I was told, if you're a male and you live long enough, you'll end up with this particular type of cancer. But you just don't end up one day, 2 months after you leave office with stage 9. So this is something that could have progressed over 15 years, which means he had this when he was vice president.
Right.
Yeah,
and they lied to us the first time. And now,
if that's the case, I mean,
what do you got, Leo? Before we hear from Biden himself, Leo, what do you got?
Boom. Yeah. That's where I was going about the lion. I feel bad for the guy. So sorry for it.
For sure.
Cancer runs in my family, so it hits home, but in a different way. Stage 9. Oof. Like 1, 2, 3. That's like my whole 2 hands. And they have the best of the doctors. They're at the Hill. So if they lied to this man for having stage cancer, like Mike said, he was already a vice president back then when he was with Barack.
Yeah.
So COVID hit. So boom, there you go, another lie. His illness, COVID. Like, what else it just keeps adding up. Like, people don't think about it. I do. I mean, I sit back and be like, okay, well, they lied to this guy about his illness. They lied about COVID. Like, what else is there to lie about that people don't think about? They're lying to us,
like I said on the TGI Now page or TGI Now show last night, was that this is just the end of the stage. Like the troll just put in this thing, rest in peace, Brandon. This is just the end of the stage for the character Joe Biden that we've been watching this whole time. That's what I look at. It's just the end of the character. He's going to pass away all of a sudden. All this flood of information is going to come out about the auto pen and that he really wasn't the president and he wasn't doing this and somebody else was doing all this. And then it won't matter because he'll already be gone. That's what I see.
He'll be gone. And you're right. He'll be gone, and there won't be, his voice will no longer be heard. So
it won't matter. Exactly.
Well,
so
now he's a legend. Now he's a legend.
Well, he's going to die, and they had to come out with it now because obviously it's progressed. But even Tapper talked about there being 2 different Bidens. But here is Biden a few years back slipping up and spilling.
It takes a long time to get to that.
Not Biden.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it away right there.
Right.
Sorry, I noticed my light wasn't on over my shoulder.
Wow.
And then we have Trump, obviously. I mean, I think Trump went into this going, I can be soft and kind of smooth this over, or like sugarcoat this and not be honest, or I could just, be sympathetic for the guy, but vengeful for the attack on democracy behind them, because this puts a lot of stuff in question. They lied to him. Okay, so if they lied to him, Leo, they lied to us, or if he was in it, who was in their right mind during some of these instances signing these things? And we already know there was an auto pen. So right now, everything Biden's signature is on is in question. So here's Trump.
So think about it, how John is saying, once he passes, sorry, because we are going to pass. We all are going to pass at one point, like he's no longer going to be there to be able to say, yes, I was, or yes, they did this to me, or yes, I was a bot, or yes, I was this, or yes, I was that, so now what are they going to do to all those signatures if that does come out? What's going to happen then? Everything that he put in office, everything that he signed, what's going to happen then? That might not be in our lifetime, but it's going to be in somebody else's lifetime.
Well, I think we're seeing a question now, because like I was on your show last night, John, and I asked Eddie Rivera the same question about, do we think we're going to see those pardons looked at, or those executive orders looked at? And start to see some charges or some investigations. Like you want to give the man some dignity and integrity, but at the same time, like this is got to be one of in history. We'll look back at this and be one of the country's most scandalous opportunities, right up there with Reagan having Alzheimer's, and who was it? Who was the one in the wheelchair? There was another one that was dead for a couple days, where his wife was literally running the country. But it's pretty scary in the modern world. Who had control of that nuclear football?
No.
Who was running our foreign policy? Obviously, they didn't treat him like they treat Trump. We saw that last week.
Exactly.
Harris was running the country.
Do you think it was Harris
for sure, Mike.
or Obama?
No. Listen, it was Harris and then Obama right underneath that, because he was the one, just like the corkscrew when you're trying to get that bottle open of celebrate. That's what they were trying to do, is celebrate.
Yeah.
He was behind that, pushing her. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Then once we get there, we'll pop it open, we'll celebrate, and we'll keep on doing what we're doing with our agenda. But that corkscrew broke.
I think it was Obama via proxy, like with people like Susan Rice, Rahm Emanuel, or some of the other characters that were in the Biden administration that were actually controlling the agenda.
Did you see that?
Characters.
Yeah. Did you see it? There's an old video that came out about it was a news not breaking news, but just a news brief about Obama using an auto pen one time, signing a document while he was out of town. He wasn't at the White House, and they had him use auto pen. He authorized him to use auto pen in the past.
What's an auto pen?
For his own signature. Yeah,
it's a machine like the Cricut that cuts vinyl, except it signs your name.
Yeah.
You program it to sign.
So
you program your signature.
So what's the whole point of having a badass signature, man? I'd be wanting to put my signature every piece of paper.
Can you imagine how to sign that on the same way every time?
But think about it, though. That's why Trump does it the way he does it. He signs it and he shows everybody that he signed it. He makes it big. That's why he's been showing it to people. I think that's a big part of this whole auto pen theory, is that he's showing you, like, I'm signing everything I do. I'm signing it. There's
no wonder every time he signs something, he gives the pen away and says, "This is going to be bad." But he does it more often than anybody else.
Because
he's like, "This is going to be worth something later on, so I'm going to give it to you."
But that's why he does that, is to show you that he makes sure he's signing it, nobody else. It's not fraudulent. So I think that was setting up the stage for what we're seeing now about this whole auto pen thing, to be honest with you.
So what did they do with the last 4 years?
That's the greatest question I've always said. And even on our show in TGI Now, we talked about this for years, that I've always said that, he didn't even win the 2020 election. So you have to go all the way back to that too. And then you got to say, well, he was illegitimate the whole time. So, so what do you do? Even if it was auto pen and it was somebody in the background using the auto pen, or whoever was doing it in the background, well, if he didn't really win, then the whole presidency would be illegitimate. So what do you do about that? That's my question. Because I think like Leo said, like, if he's going to die now, so he passes. Now, does the fraudulent election information start to come flowing out now that it was that it was stolen?
But so here's the thing. That just like another case we're going to talk about, I think it's end of mission. End of mission for the doubles for the Biden character, whether it's Joe Biden, or whatnot. I think it's end of mission. He's coming to end of life anyways. And we're going to see releasing of more and more evidence. So I think they had to put this out there because he's going to be dead any day now.
Yeah, I agree.
They can't. It's all going to come out that they've been lying anyway. So
exactly. So then he just exits stage left, like you just said. Like, he exits the stage, and then next comes the next wave of information about the auto pen, about 2020, about what he did when he was the vice president. Him and his doings with Afghanistan and Ukraine and Russia and China, all these deals that him and Biden, his son, made. All that stuff that's really true will really come to the surface because he'll be gone. That's the way I see it. So it'll be impactful.
You think they will address America whenever this happens?
Yes.
Or do you think they'll wait a couple of days or a week or a month?
Who?
When
Biden dies?
Yeah.
Well, when Biden dies, we'll know right away.
But before we don't know, he could be dead now. Because remember, for quite some time, he was gone. He was disappeared. Nobody
Well,
knew where
it-
he was
you
at.
could take
There's
it-
theory
well,
that there's multiple Bidens.
Well,
that's
there
what I'm
you
saying.
go. That's what I'm
Then
saying.
you
That's
could
what
take it
Joanne
deeper.
just said.
Yeah, you could take it deeper and say, like you just said, he may be dead now, or he might have already been dead. Like Eddie would say on our podcast all the time, Ed Rivera, that like it was Weekend at Bernie's this whole time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
then,
That's what we thought.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean,
Oh, we can go on and on. I've got a Trump video, but before we go, Vince chimed in. Vince is on vacation. I think he's
I
in
see.
Tennessee. And he said, "Hey, guys, looking good. Sorry I couldn't be there on vacation. But John is the best fill-in anyone can get and have a great show." So with that
Hey,
being
Vince.
said, I'm going to play Trump's remarks on Biden's stage 9. And then when we come back, we're going to bring in Joanne also from Benford Chronicles. So
hey,
we'll be right
Joanne.
back.
Situation. Now, I think, to get to everybody, but it's given just about, and it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there, and that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed. And I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's two separate doctors. Why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out.
All right, let's bring in Joanne Benford from Benford Chronicles and Any River Connections. I don't know how this is going to look, but here we go. Hey, Joanne.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. And you?
I'm doing good. Love this topic.
What's your take on the Biden's, late stage cancer diagnosis?
I think Biden had cancer all through his presidency. I mean, you just don't end up with this kind of cancer and all of a sudden you're looking sick. I mean, look how frail he was getting during his presidency. I mean, they literally had to put weights in his shoes to help him stabilize.
It's crazy
I've
that
never heard that before.
it's crazy the length they'll go to hide it.
They took some video of his shoes and his heels had like little platforms put on them, and they were saying that they were weights that help you to.
They say they were weights. It was probably a chip to keep track on to see where he was going.
Servos.
In case he wandered off.
One of those eye tags.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's. I think we all knew, and now we know what stage he's at. I think you're right, Joanne. He was sick all through his presidency. Yeah. I believe he was been sick since his vice presidency. They lied to us the first time, and then the second time, when he beat Trump or when he lost to Trump, they just thought he was the only one who could beat him, and obviously they were wrong. But how long? Like, where would we be right now if Biden didn't drop out after that? If he didn't get demolished, if they didn't put up the wrong Biden in the debate, where would we be right now? I'm pretty confident we'd still have Trump, but
think about it. Like if they didn't pull that bait and switch with Kamala, and they just left him kept running, and now he would have won, and now he's president, and he comes down with cancer and dies, then Kamala would end up being president.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense why he fell asleep. Remember how he was just falling asleep in his chair, and when he was at events.
But that just tells
you.
Yeah.
It makes you tired.
That just tells the people that voted for him, or that were beside him, that he even lied to you guys about his own health. Like, this was the person that you guys trusted with, America trusted to go.
Well, and that's why
to places, and
I think they need to go after the officials around him. The
like,
doctor or what he had, like one or two main doctors. They have their own physician. I think they need to go after them because they were certifying him cognitively fit and clean bill of health, and that's what they were telling us, which obviously was a lie. And so who was, like Trump said, who was running the country? Who pardoned those people?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, okay, if it wasn't Biden who would have won, like, this would have been somebody else's term. Like, Trump's term would have been gone. We wouldn't have had Trump right now, would we?
Joanne, I think you got a fan in Truthful Troll. You said, "Damn, girl, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?"
Oh, thank you. That was so sweet.
And what happened to he was on my side, like not on the side, like
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I
I
love
don't know
it.
about the rainbows, but like, come on, man.
Well,
Anyway.
listen, now we know why the auto pen is such a big deal,
Oh, yeah,
because
for sure.
he wasn't cognitively there. He was ill. And who the hell was running the auto pen?
Well,
know?
and also you got to remember too, like you guys were saying that the doctors and those people were responsible for whoever was around them and all that. But then, you know, you have to look at Nuremberg and 2.0 trials that, you know, the media has to be held accountable as well because of the people that kept propping him up and propping him up and propping him up. They were lying to the American people. That's treason. You can't do that. So
yeah,
you know, you have to be tried and you have to be, you know, brought to justice for that too, because you're supposed to be able to trust the media. So, you know, I think a lot of people in the media are going to be in trouble for this too.
I think
and
so.
what about the statute of limitations? Isn't it like 5 years or something like that? Because I heard them talking about some cases that they can't hit because of the statute of limitations. You know?
Yeah.
I don't
Because
know.
that was 4 years. If it's 5 years, we're running into it right now.
Do you think you'd see arrests anyways? I mean, I love our guys, but
No.
I don't have very much confidence in Bongino and Patel, which
Well-
kind of plays along with, you know, the same deep state narrative thing, you know, with the interview they just did on Fox News, you know,
Yeah,
like who's controlling these people? And I mean, did you see that interview? Did you see any of that interview?
Well, you're talking about the interview where they said Epstein killed himself.
Yeah, I'm totally switching.
And I'm like,
here.
there's
Yeah.
no way that you're going to convince the American people by saying you looked at the documents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everything went wrong at that time. You know, the cell guy was on vacation. I mean, people were not in the places they were supposed to be, and it was so conveniently set up. So to me, it's like somebody put that sheet around his neck and hung him for himself. You know, it's
or
like
gave him the sheet and said, "Now is your time. You got to do it." I firmly believe. So my opinion, I watched just a little bit of that interview, and Bongino didn't seem himself. Kash, I want to like Kash, and I like him, but I don't know him. You know, like Bongino's been a big part of conservative households for a long time, when he was a personality on Fox and on his own show and stuff like that. So, you know,
And
I don't feel like Bongino was himself.
no, because Bongino, if you watch his shows, he's such a badass. And he's like, you know, he really talks authentically. And now he's restricted. And I don't care. I get it. In certain settings, you have to, you know, you have to handle yourself differently, right? But still stay true to what you've been preaching to us on your show, telling us that you looked at the documents is totally opposite of everything you've said on your show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Bingo.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like when he said, "I looked at the
Oh.
documents," he killed himself was his way of saying, "Let's move
Somebody's
on."
gotta go.
Mike,
Well,
what's that
either
one saying you got? What's that one saying you got from that one lady?
Hold on.
Oh man, that's perfect. That would have
Where
been
did
perfect.
everything go?
So listen,
Hold on.
either somebody's got a
Hold on,
gun
Johnny,
to
go ahead,
Bongino's
go ahead, hold on.
head, or they've got
Joanne, hold
something
on.
over him,
John's
or it's
gonna like
really
this.
dangerous.
Yeah, you're probably
done
right.
with this mess.
Yeah.
Be done
Yeah,
with
there
this
you go.
mess.
Be
done
gone with this
mess.
Boom!
Be done with this mess.
There you go, Joanne.
We know who that
I
is.
know that voice.
Boom!
Be
Be
gone
done
with
with this
it.
mess.
Go with it.
Hey.
Be gone.
I forgot I had that loaded in there. Yeah, I think it's all. I think Bongino, in his own way, was telling us that this is what I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Let's focus on what's actually the target. And they warned people about child trafficking and that they're coming for them. But I know there's investigations to be done, and you don't want to jump the gun and have something fall through and then them be able to sue the government. But at this point, I don't care, man. They got to start proving results. Midterms are knocking at the door, and if we don't start seeing results, Republicans lost it. Like, we're only hanging on by a thread, and they haven't done shit anyways.
The GOP doesn't help either.
No,
You know?
only 5 bills. 5 bills have gone to Trump's desk for him to sign. Out of all the executive orders, only 5 bills, which is shameful. I mean, they're doing great things, but they're all there for their own reasons, and it's horrible that only 5 bills have been signed into law so far.
Well, that's why I keep telling everybody, look, you say you have the House and the Senate, but if you actually look at the records of these people, and they've been in office for so long, their records are like crap, and that just goes to show you that they're not living up to their oath, because it's the Republican side that's going to hold up the Republic of America. And if these guys are not holding up to their oath and voting constitutionally and sticking to the morals and the foundation of the Constitution for this great nation, it's going to fall apart. And that's what's happening. Look, the GOP doesn't help at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm rough on them.
Speaking of the GOP not helping, I've got Rubio on Capitol Hill. Did you see his testimony? I don't have a lot of it, but I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Pull that up.
Let's see.
Reported gang members, including the one you had. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear in the days to come. You're going to see who you went to defend.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary
No.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court in
Senator-
the United States because
Well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy.
Yeah, tell that to the district court judges who are blocking, immigration policy and stuff like that. What is your opinion on? We can go around the table because we all know Rubio a little bit. Leo, what's your opinion on Rubio since he's Secretary of State compared to a senator for Florida?
You just caught me off guard.
Well, Joanne, how about let's go. Joanne.
I love Rubio in this position. I think this is a good spot for him. As a senator, I did not like Rubio at all.
Sorry.
Flat. I was happy that Trump pulled him out so that we could have another open seat for somebody else to fill. Otherwise, Rubio would have been in there to the end of time and would have slowly drug us down. I mean, he supported red flag laws. I'm just like, there's a lot of other things I can name, but we don't need to go into all that now. But yeah, I'm happy where he's at. He's doing a great job, and I'm like, okay, finally, I can clap for you, Rubio.
God.
What do you think, John?
I agree with just what Joanne just said. Yeah, I mean that's if Trump actually figured out a place to put him to where he can be useful and be resourceful and be to the point, because that's what he just did.
He didn't want to he knew there was something. Yeah, he knew where to place him, but he didn't know exactly where to place him.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
He knew that there was going to be potential for him, but not in the place that he was at the beginning.
Well, and it's funny because I've been binge watching on The Apprentice. So I've been watching. I never watched The Apprentice before, so now I go back now and watch it. And so that's what Trump does. He finds people and he puts them in places where he can figure out where they're most useful, and that's exactly what he did with
It's
Rubio.
like a tryout.
It was a practice. So Apprentice was a practice time for him to learn how to find people.
And he has said that. Trump has said that before, like when he first started the presidency. His first term, he's like, I didn't know who to trust or what to trust, so I kind of was just kind of going with the flow for a minute, and then all of a sudden I knew exactly, no, I can't trust you because you did this to me, or you're right, John, about that.
I was very surprised he picked Rubio for that spot.
Same here.
I thought kind of like what you said, Joanne, was like, let's get him out of this. Is the only way we're going to get him on. Like, you promote to get somebody out of the building sometimes. And I thought that's what it was, and it might still be. And I think he passed the probation period, but I think he's a kick-ass diplomat. And he's a multitasker because now he's director of the USAID. He's assumed the responsibility of like 3 other sub agencies that had their own, director. None as high as Secretary of State. Secretary of State is a pretty big deal, and if you kind of want to just like get rid of somebody, you
Hillary
give them
was.
the ambassadorship to Japan,
Yeah.
or even the UN. It's just like, but Secretary of State's a big deal, and I think he made a good decision.
Yeah.
Who's replacing him for Florida? Is that election what's coming up?
The 2026 elections. Yeah, I think so, because we've got the primaries coming up in 2026.
And Joanne on Benford Chronicles have been interviewing candidates for all kinds of different offices.
Yeah, I just started for the Senate race in District 8, and that's Volusia County. And I haven't seen any of the people running in our county yet. So as soon as I see those, I'm going to grab them and get them on so that people could hear what they've got to say and find out if they're constitutional. I bring the conservatives on. I don't interview Democrats because that's not my initiative.
Right. And that's kind of like we have a company, like if you don't know, actually all 4 of us are business partners in Indian River Connections. And we're in business to make money and also spread the conservative message. Like, I'll talk to a Democrat, but I'm not really here to give them a platform either.
No,
I'll listen to them.
And I would listen to my wording too, though. I'm not exclusive to Republicans, though.
No,
that's not my thing either. So, although that's the aisle I tend to sit on, I'm definitely not sitting on the other side.
Yeah, well, when I do the candidate interviews, I am exclusive to conservatives because that's the initiative of Florida, is to stay red, and we need to know who's running that's going to keep us red. We don't need to listen to all this rhetoric from the left on how they're going to destroy our schools and destroy our liberties and bring, on the next COVID attack. So let's for me, I'm bringing on the conservatives for everybody to see. Somebody else.
But my point is I'm making a distinction between conservatives and Republicans, because there's some of us conservatives who don't file as Republicans, but our candidates do, because they have to win in an election. You have to. So that's why I always say it's important what you do on the local level and the state level, because it's a red state, and the only way you're getting a job in a red state is if you're a certain shade of red. And so it's important to make sure we find out what shade of red you are. We have liars. There's rhinos and liars among us, and we've seen it in the districts all around us. So if you live in a red state, it's just as important in your state also. It's not time to like kick back and think, we moved to Florida, it's good, they're all conservatives, we don't have to vote, we don't have to pay attention. That's not the case. Back to Rubio, though. I wanted to play
say something about Rubio.
This one clip. What did you want to say about Rubio?
Rubio, he was the one that took the first little sip of the drink when they were overseas, wasn't he?
He did. I don't know if he actually took a sip or not.
He took the whole shot.
Did he, or did he have his mouth open?
Mike, he took the whole shot. Yeah. Trump even looked at him like, "You,
like, did he have his mouth open?
Like, are you that thirsty? Like,
were his lips first?"
He's Cuban, man. He's probably drank worse than that.
I know, but still,
Miami.
Come on, man. Like
the water in Miami. Have you seen that?
Like, seriously, Trump turned around and looked at him like, seriously, did you just drink that?
Well, nobody could be the worst drinker on camera than DeSantis. I'm sorry, when DeSantis tried to drink his beer on camera, that was just too funny.
I never paid much attention. But here is a legal naturalized citizen who got picked up by ICE by accident. It's not going to show us all on stage at first,
yeah,
but
I saw that.
We'll be right back. Here is a clip of this naturalized patriot. Maybe.
Hey.
Maybe not. What in the world? No, not happening, huh? Anyways, I guess that's not gonna happen. Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
That wasn't playing on your end either. Okay. Just want
No.
to make sure it wasn't us. That should have had audio, but it was a naturalized immigrant who got picked up by accident. I guess he didn't have ID on him readily available. He was mistaken for somebody else, and once he showed his papers, they released him and all that, or his ID, and
It actually went very well for him.
yeah, and he was like, "Listen, I don't hold nothing against them." He's like, "I voted for Trump, and this is what I voted for." And obviously he said it with an accent I don't have, and it'd be racist if I tried to do it. But
Leo, maybe you can do that.
No,
I don't even think he could. It was pretty thick.
because the other day I had passport or whatever I said.
Passport.
Passport.
Leo's still working on English.
I was still working on my English the other day.
Yeah, and he was born here. But yeah, the guy was like, "Hey, they're just doing their job. This is what they have to do." And unfortunately, bad people come here. So
Yeah.
like
it sucks.
I thought that was a pretty good story. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good story.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys,
Like, say
if you
if I was-
notice, a lot of
like-
the documentaries with ICE and Border Patrol, a lot of those agents are Hispanic or Latino descent, and they're patriotic. They're very patriotic.
Like,
American.
say if I was an ICE agent or whatever, like, damn, man, like,
You're going to catch a lot of shade in your family, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It
That's what I'm
helps for
saying.
them.
Like, catch a lot of shade, but still, man, like, that's his career. This is what he wanted to do, and he didn't know that this law or the laws were going to be enforced this bad, but they also knew that the law was there.
Due process, man. There's due process to get here.
Unless somebody, what was that signature again? I don't even know what it's called.
Auto pen.
Auto pen.
Unless somebody auto pen that thing, then
They did. There was an app. There was an app for that.
There's an app for that.
I'm
That's
gonna play.
hey, what happened to Elon? I haven't heard about Elon.
Elon was in the room today when.
Oh, yeah.
Elon was in the room today when Trump had an interaction with South African president. But first, we're gonna go to a short break about Warrior Weekend. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Warrior Shield Foundation proudly presents Warrior Weekend, a 3-day event from September 5th through September 7th at the Rosen Center in beautiful Orlando, Florida, which honors and supports the Corporal Chad Eric Oleg Schlager Foundation for PTSD, raising awareness and resources for its vital mission to help our most valuable heroes, our veterans. This powerful weekend will feature live performances by country music recording artist Ryan Weaver.
It's a long way to home, but you won't take the hard road all alone.
American Idol runner-up Bo Bice.
Tired of looking down roads, wondering what I gotta do, who I'm supposed to be. I don't wanna be anything other than me.
Christian contemporary and country artist Natasha Owens.
God and country strong, give me a cowboy who knows left from right from wrong.
Florida native and national recording artist Sean Holcomb.
You just watch your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. There's a compass and a map if you need.
In addition to all of the musical artists performing at the event, meet John Tig Tigan and Dave Boone Benton. Two true American heroes who stood their ground and defeated armed terrorists on September 11th, 2012, in Benghazi, Libya. Not only can you meet Tig and Boone, but you can spend the day at the range, shooting and learning from the best of the best. Another hero that you will not want to miss is Colonel Gregory Gadsden, an American actor and motivational speaker, and a retired colonel and former commander in the United States Army. Colonel Gadsden is also a bilateral, above-the-knee amputee who served in the Army for 25 years of active duty as a field artillery officer. Nowhere else will you be able to meet this all-star lineup while supporting our veterans and first responders. This is an event of a lifetime, and one you do not want to miss. Get your tickets now, online, at warriorshield.org, and support those who fought and sacrificed so much for all of us.
Day. Hey, what's up, guys? I am your boy Leo from To The Point
Leo and Vince.
with Mike, Leo, and Vince, and we have
Joanne Binford,
from
John Corrupt.
Binford Chronicles.
Yes.
where could they find you at, Joanne?
Oh, BinfordChronicles.com.
And
Indian River Connections. Go to Indian River Connections. We are right there. Binford Chronicles, along with TGI Now and To The Point podcast.
Boom. Thank
And the
you.
board report every Friday at 7 p.m.
There you go, Joanne. See, there's what I wanted to hear. Come on.
Sponsored by Gus Curran's House of Champions.
Yep, that's our local show
That's us.
where we provide accountability to local taxing boards and stuff like that. So check out IndyRiverConnections.com and you'll find links to go to Binford Chronicles and TGI Now and spelled board. Truthful Troll's messing with us. He's trying to provoke the comments. Yeah. So yeah, I had Leo, you mentioned Elon, and today Trump had an interaction with he hosted the South African president, where Elon Musk is from, where we played a video. Look at this. I just want to. Oh, it must be see her smile.
Who smile?
I think he's talking about you, Joanne,
You
or
got
Leo.
it.
I don't know.
He ain't talking about me. He forgot about me way long time ago.
Thank you, troll. You can troll me all day.
So, South African president was in the White House today, and Trump, it just like proves to us again, like he's like a bull in a china cabinet. He's not afraid to confront you, and it seems like he's not holding back any punches, especially when it comes to, I guess, killing white people. Because that's what we've been seeing. We've been seeing videos out of South Africa, not just from like the last month. It just got worse in the last month, but it's been a long time. And I've known South Africans who had come from money and they had to leave. They had to abandon and I'm not talking like in the last year. I mean, over the last 20 years, I've met a few in our area.
Yeah.
For some reason, they come to this area too, in Central Florida or South Florida. But to maintain their money, they had to leave. They had to, if they could sell their property, they sold their property, or they've lost it in the apartheid, whatever it was called. But it got pretty brutal there. Here is some Trump. I'll probably skip through some of this because it's not short, but this is Trump being pretty brutal with the South African president.
Well,
don't tell me our videos aren't going to work today. This is not good.
That sucks.
Yeah, man, that's
I got a video of the South African speaking. I don't know if it's the president or not, but he's talking about genocide. Literally.
Hello.
his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table.
So if there was a little glitch in the audio, this guy is the president of South Africa, which is a Marxist regime, and he's answering a question for Trump. Now they asked Trump, what would it convince you that there's no genocide happening in South Africa? And this guy spoke up. He's like, I can answer that question. And Trump's like, okay.
Look at the way he's looking at it.
I want to let me fix you, John, here. I can't see it. And Trump's like, yeah, okay, let him answer the question for me. I want to hear what he says, And it's like foot and mouth, instant karma. Like, you might have been okay doing this photo op with Trump without bargaining, like bringing the diplomacy to the table, but you brought it out. So Trump is just going to floor it, and that's what he did. Let's see.
It will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including.
What's going on with our audio?
My Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories. And that, is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things. And it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
This parliament can do, with or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission.
Yeah, this is footage from that one political activist. I think it's a party leader calling for the genocide.
We're going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are.
And that's like, that takes some balls. Like, Trump's like, hold on. Wait a minute. We got some video. Let's play some video. Like, you mean to tell me this isn't dangerous? When one of your leaders is calling for genocide?
Yeah.
And then we see stories of genocide, and you're telling me there's no genocide?
Yeah. Mandela doesn't kill Mandela.
There's more. We gotta wrap it up here. So Trump goes on, and he goes on to share articles and stories of white farmers who they get filed as burglaries, like home invasions, and they're not home invasions because right after they're murdered, their property is snatched right up, and no descendants get a chance to inherit nothing. It's not that kind of a country. There's not, they're doing away with a free society, and now they're putting pressure. They're getting their appropriations, I guess. Yeah, Trump goes on, man. There's video, and I might even post this on our X, but I'm sure it's out there. He just like obliterates the guy, and the guy's just caught off his guard. Was like,
He's totally bold-faced lying. I put a video up there if you wanted to play it, Mike. You can, but it's a South African talking about genocide. And actually,
I'm going to wrap it up because we got Cowboys and Indians coming on in 2 minutes, I believe. But also, I'll post it to our Twitter. Eddie's got an important interview tonight with. Hold on, I know it's going to get his name wrong. Ryan Mata. I know he's another podcaster. He's a creator of Trafficked, and they go deep into what he saw when it came into the child sex trafficking, and it's pretty gruesome, the information the guys bringing to the table. And they're part of other organizations, and that's going to be at 10 o'clock our time, Eastern time. So be sure to check them out. And Cowboys and Indians, they're coming on in actually 60 seconds. So Joanne, I want to thank you for joining us. John, thank you guys for sitting in.
Thank you for having me on.
For Vince the man while he's relaxing up in the mountains of Tennessee. So be sure to give us all a follow at Indian River Connections and TGI Now, Benford Chronicles, PPN, To The Point, all those things. So that's it. Next week for episode 119. Thanks, John. Thanks, Joanne. Leo.
Thank you,
Thank you guys. Thank you, Troll.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
We out.
We out.
This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.